Good morning and welcome to my guest, Susanna. I am so happy to have you on the Workplace Wellness Forum this morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Joyce. So thank you so much for having me. So my name is Anna Billian. My full name is Snezhana, but it's difficult for most people to pronounce. So Anna is much simpler for everybody.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I help professionals expand their influence at work and create a career they love. So basically, my goal is to help create a new working reality that's fulfilling, fun, and more human than it is today. A year ago, I created my career platform called Great Career Studios. And on this platform, I share latest neuroscience insights. I share my advice, ideas, and practical tools on how to advance your career. So that's in a nutshell what I do. I'm also a leadership development manager at EY, and I help executives and manager become better leaders and be their best at work.
Excellent. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're going to be part of the Global Workplace Wellness Summit and participate and share your knowledge with our audience. So as you look at your career, as you look at what's happening with COVID-19, what are some changes you've had to make and adapt in your work and or that you're seeing your clients need to adapt with in their work?
Well, it's difficult to say because there have been so many changes, and then with these months passing, we've kind of adapted to these changes. So in the beginning, they seemed more radical to me than they are today. So we've all gone online, and I think we all had to adapt to this new way of working and to build relationships online without seeing people physically. So I think for me personally, the biggest change was really also managing my own mindset,
Yes.
because I'm a very outgoing person, so I enjoy the company of other people a lot.
Mhm.
And a lot of my work is sitting together in workshops together with people, and then not only giving a training, but really feeling and creating the energy in a room. And then all of a sudden all of that was gone, and you can put it into a zoo room, but only that much. It's not really the same. So for me, I guess this was the biggest change, really, to adapt myself mentally, and then also to try keeping everybody awake and involved as I continue doing my work online.
Hey, I think you're right. We all had to shift our mindset and become accustomed to the new way of being. And it
Right.
seems like we might be doing that for a while yet. It's not, even though they're working on a vaccine, it'll be a while before that is executed. So we do need to become comfortable. But as you look down the road, even after the pandemic, do you see virtual as a big part of your career moving forward?
I do. I mean, I've worked virtual a lot also before. So for me, the big shift occurred 2 or 3 years ago when most of my work like really shifted to be virtual when I was not holding workshops. So most of my interactions with clients were online meetings. So I remember back then that in the beginning, so I was feeling lonely a lot. And now with COVID, okay, that was really an extreme situation. So it's not comparable to that. So I believe that remote work is here to stay. There are a lot of companies who have announced that they are employees can work from home forever if they choose so. So like Siemens and Twitter, and there were, I think, also Facebook. So a lot of companies who are already embracing that new way of working. So I think the biggest challenge for all of us is really to be in touch with ourselves, but also with the people we work with, because it's really difficult to tell, if somebody is okay or not okay when you are not seeing them in the office that much. Because even when people are saying I'm fine, you know, when you spend the whole day with them, you see that something's off.
Yes.
And when they are, and when you only have these interactions online, it's a bit more difficult. And sometimes, you know, when somebody is not feeling okay, this is also what I'm saying is they tend to misinterpret the information they are getting, maybe even from you, you know, because if I'm in a negative mood, so if Joyce is sending me an email, I can interpret it in a way
Yes.
that's way different than what you intended it to be, just because I
Absolutely.
am in that mindset at the time. And it's really difficult sometimes, especially for leaders, to uncover that mindset that's maybe occurring in their in the teams of their people, because they just can't know.
It's so true. And you know, one of the things I teach at Interpersonal Wellness Services Inc. is that if you're not well, it permeates every part of your life and your work and your relationship. So, yes, you interpret things in an unhealthy way. You make assumptions that are negative and probably false, and blaming and accusing, and that only affects your relationship
Right.
with each other and create more negative interpersonal dynamics in the team. So it's very important to know that the wellness mindset and all of that is such a key part to what we're doing, because at the summit this year, our focus is going to be on creating the wellness mindset and building wellness competencies in organizations. So as we talk more about that and your topic you're going to be speaking on in the summit, I'm curious to know, what are some things you are noticing now that you're thinking, this is something that I want to include, or this is something that's going to be relevant to participants at the summit?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I'm a big fan of science, especially neuroscience. I'm not a scientist, but I work with neuroscientists, or I have also worked with them in the past. And I'm just curious, you know, what is out there, and I've always been curious about human behavior. And since we now have access to all these great insights that were not available even 50 years ago, you know, I really like sometimes to dig deep and to see, okay, how can I take this and can I do with this information to to make it work in an organization. And this is also what I would like to address at your summit. So in my life, what I've really discovered is the one thing that really moves the needle when it comes to our work and well-being is really finding that state of flow. So it's a concept that was developed by a Hungarian psychologist whose name I don't know how to pronounce. And basically, we all know that situation when we are in flow, when we are in the zone, when the time is passing, and we just don't realize, you know, the concept of time. We are so involved in an activity that we don't get to notice anything else. And so we are sometimes also challenged, but it's this positive challenge. So it's not a challenge that's really burning us out, but it's the one that is pushing us to do more and to achieve more results.
Yeah.
And achieving flow is, sometimes it's difficult, but it's also not that difficult if we know how to prepare our mindset for that kind of state of mind. And so this is something that I would like to talk about also at the summit, as I find that now, during the global pandemic, it was difficult even for me to enter the flow state at times. And I think we need tools to do that on our own and not only when we are surrounded by other people.
That is so important, because many employees tell me, even some of the clients I'm coaching now, they're saying to me, one of my clients is just sorting out and vying for a directorship in her organization. And one of the things that they miss and is the coming together. You know, when we all together, we all work together, we all do it. And I think for different cultures and people from different diverse backgrounds are experiencing that differently. because some groups are more homogeneous. They are
Right.
more they're more oriented to the we and the team mentality. Of course, we would like to build that into all our teams as leaders. However, some individuals are very independent and work alone. I know for myself, I do my best work on my own. I'm an independent thinker, and so that makes it very comfortable for me as an entrepreneur to do that. And I have to do a huge mindset shift and a preparation when I'm going to be working with a team and get myself into that flow. So that is so important when you talk about the flow, whether you're going to be part of a team or no matter how diverse you are. If you are, you're geared more to be entrepreneurial, working on your own independently, independent thinker, or you are now needing to move into a team, or you're part of a team and now have to adapt to working on your own. All of us need to do that shift to create that flow. And that's so important for us to be able to do that and know how to do that. So I really like that, because the challenge of not doing that is the stress, the mental stress and the emotional stress. And that's
Right.
one of the
Right.
things that many people suffer is the depression, the emotional instability that becomes more of an issue. And we hear about the crisis in mental health. And those are all parts of flowing and how flow can really improve our emotional and mental wellness. We
Right.
have
And I mean,
two neuroscientists coming at the summit this year. Our two of our keynote speakers are neuroscientists. One is a neurosurgeon, and one is a neuroscientist. So we're going
so
to
I'm
be
looking
having
forward
fun.
to the speeches. Yes, yes. So for me, I can talk about how I have applied these insights in my own work and in the work of my teams. But
Mhm.
I think that it's so empowering, when we are not feeling motivated, or when we are not feeling that great, just to
Mhm.
have this power to say, okay, maybe I can understand what's going on in my brain, and then I can
Mhm.
work with my brain to make it better. And I
Yes.
have experimented, and I've really realized that it works when we get to understand why we feel like we feel, and when we develop that and understanding also for the team members in
Mhm.
our teams, it really becomes easy to enter that state of flow. Yes.
Yes, it really is. Whether you're working alone or with a team, you really have to understand flow and be able to master it to be
Right.
successful in your career and to contribute to the wellness of the workplace. All right. So, what are some other? So, I forget to ask you. You haven't tell our audience which part of the world are you living in?
I live in Germany at the moment. So I am a Serbo-Croatian who was born in Bosnia. I've
Okay.
lived in the US, I've lived in Italy, and now I'm based in Germany. My husband is half Italian, half German, so we are an international mix here at home.
Indeed, indeed, quite international
Yeah.
and quite a perspective, having worked in so many parts of the world. What is one of the things as you look like, what do you think is one of the most impactful aspect of your work? What is one thing that clients tell you they get out of you working with you?
Um, Well, what I hear the most from people is their personal transformation, because often we talk about leadership and how to expand your influence and how to be a better leader. But ultimately, people get to understand themselves much better, and they get in touch with themselves on a deeper level that they maybe didn't think about before. And I believe this is the most impactful thing in my work.
All right. This is cool. So are you a coach yourself, or what is it? What was some of the pieces that you do that brings that transformation in your work?
Yeah, well, so I am not a coach. I use coaching practices in my workshops, but
Mm-hmm.
I am mainly a workshop facilitator. So I facilitate workshops where people come together in group, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes coaching is part of that, but it's not the typical
Coaching.
coaching that you would expect from a coach who coaches on one-on-one. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right. So what is one thing you want to tell our audience that they should look out for? And one thing you're excited about for the summit or actually in your career right now?
Okay, so what I'm excited about the summit is just getting to hear all these different voices and
Mhm.
perspectives, especially now this year has been so challenging. And I think that, just hearing the perspective from other experts and people on how they have managed this crisis and what they have learned from it and how they are going to use these insights to move forward.
Yes.
This is something that I'm really excited about because I have my own learnings, but I'm always looking for inspiration from others.
Others.
And I think that's really going to be extremely valuable. And I think that also the listeners of the summit, should be excited about the same. So this is, I think, the most valuable thing that we can expect.
Okay, Anna, thank you so much. I'm so excited that to have had you on the forum and looking forward to having you at the summit and all the, of course, participants and sharing your knowledge with them. I really am grateful. And last word, any last thing you want to say before we go? Where can people find you? Who do you work with?
So my website is Great Career Studios. So www.greatcareerstudios.com. You can find my work there. And if you want to get in touch, I believe that also our contact information is going to be provided on the summit page. I'm not sure, but probably yes. So if you go on my website, you can also find the contact information there and get in touch.
Excellent. Thank you, Anna.
So thank you so much for having me, Joy. I'm still looking forward to the summit, to hearing from you and from all the other speakers. It's going to be a really joyful round. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.